Okay, so exact value. We're going to do exactly what we did yesterday. So the X, Y, R ratios, except for this is going to be from our unit circle. So yesterday we just did any random points, and today we're going to do points that are located on our unit circle. Okay, so sine of 30 degrees. So can you draw, do you remember how if you have your circle, you don't need to draw your circle, but don't draw that, but this is my circle. Where is 30 degrees? It's over here. So draw a dot. So that's where the coordinate is. Okay, now what did we do yesterday? We drew a triangle. This flat side is the what? X. The vertical side, Y. The diagonal side is the R, radius. Okay, now when I look at my unit circle, because you have it in front of you, what is the X length? Which one is the X? This root 3 over 2. What is the Y? 1/2. Okay, now you have to think about this. This is called the unit circle. So what do you think the R value is if it's called the unit circle? The radius is 1. Okay, anywhere I have my finger, anywhere on this circle, it's saying the distance to the center is 1. Does it make sense? Look at here. The distance from the center is 1. Everywhere you are, this radius is 1. Okay. I'm going to find the sine. So what do I do with sine? I need the Y, and I'm going to divide by the R. So the Y is 1/2, and the R is 1. So what happens in math if you divide something by 1? Yeah, like I'm just going to do that because it doesn't do anything. So my answer is 1/2. Okay, you don't have this luxury on your test, by the way, but I'll show you this. The sine of 30 equals 0.5. Okay? But if you just did that on your test without showing me, actually no, I don't even, you have to do this without your calculator. And then you hand in your paper, so yeah, you have to do this with your calculator, but I'm showing you that's how it works. Okay, 225. Can you draw me the dot? Where are you? Okay, are we okay with where the dot is? 225? Make a triangle. Okay, using those two coordinates, can you write this and this on the proper spots? So negative root 2 over 2 is the X, and negative root 2 over 2 is the Y, and then the R is 1. Okay, what does the cos tell me to do? Take the X and divide it by R. Okay, this is what I'm going to do from now on. I'm scratching that off because I actually don't care to divide by 1, right? So basically, I just want what is the x number. So negative root 2 over 2. Okay, again, you don't have this luxury, but what is the cos of 225? Negative 0.707. What is negative root 2 divided by 2? Negative 0.707. Okay? This stuff, you're going to like, grade 12, you do it so much. So it's always about exact value, which is something that looks like this. This is not something exact because you're going to have to round it. Eventually you're going to have to round that, right? Okay. 480 degrees. Oh, okay. That's not on our circle. That's not on there. So let's talk about where are you? So I'm going to be going a full 360. And then what? How much more? How much more will I have to go after 360 and then 120? So this is what I'm doing. 120, I'm up here. So I'm just drawing my dot in this position. Okay, so that's where I am. So I drew that dot, and the x value, so I'm going to grab this coordinate. So the x value is -1/2. The y value is root 3 over 2, and the r value is 1 because it's on the unit circle. Okay, so yesterday we had to figure out the r because it wasn't on the unit circle. By the way, I could do this squared plus this squared, but it will come out to 1. Okay, how do I find the sign of something? Y divided by r. And in this case, I already know that there will be a divide by 1. So I want the y value. That's my answer. Okay. 10 of 30. So I'm going to draw 30 degrees as a dot. I'm going to form my triangle. And we already did this for question 1 with the 30. So my x is root 3 over 2, my y is 1/2, and the r is 1. Okay, what is tan all about here? A y divided by an x? Okay, tan is not as easy. I can't just cross out anything, right? I don't have that r. So we have to do it. So 1/2 divided by root 3 over 2. Okay, so you have to actually do this. What do we do in math? Dividing fractions. How do we actually do that? Anybody know the trick? When you divide a fraction number, what should I do instead?
Flip the second one and
Multiply and flip. So 1/2, instead of divide, I'm going to times and flip. Okay, do you remember that rule with math? You've learned that somewhere along the line? Dividing fractions, you times and flip the second one. Okay, does anybody see something that might happen to make life easier here. There's a 2 on the top and the bottom. Does that make sense in math? You can cancel them. So 1 over root 3. Okay. Cos negative 495. So this is the one, again, where I just don't even know where I am. So I have to figure out first just where I am. So I'm going to do 495 subtract a full circle because I can see that it's a rotation plus. Okay, so I have to go negative. What do we do with negative again? Backwards. So there's a full circle backwards. And then 135 degrees more. Do we all look like we're landing in the same position? Okay, so I went a full circle and then 135 more in backwards direction. Okay, so if I'm going to place a dot, what is this actually matching with on my circle here? Which one of these three in this quadrant is it? The 225 spot. Okay, so this is where I'm actually looking. So negative root 2 over 2. Okay, so this question talks about cos. So my cos formula is the x over the r. Once we see an r with this one, we don't have to worry. We know it's going to divide by 1. So what is the x value? You just write the x value. Okay, 10 of 90. So 90 is there. Okay, there's actually no triangle with this. Right, you can't make a triangle because it's just straight up, right on the top. Okay, what is 10? The y divided by the x. Okay, so I'm going to fill this in. The y number is 1 divided by the x number 0. All right, here's a big thing in math. What happens in math if you divide something by 0? It doesn't work, right? So if you wanted to try it, it's going to tell you there's an error. You can't in math divide something by 0. Just think about having $1 and dividing it amongst 0 people. I don't even know how to answer that, right? So we're going to write the number as undefined. We can't give you a number. There is no number. Okay? It's different than writing no solution because I'm actually not saying x equals something. If you have an x equals something, then it would be no solution. But this is just what is the number? There is no number. It will be for 90 and 270. These would be 0 divided by 1. Does that work? What is 0 divided by 1? 0. 0 divided by 1 is 0. Okay? Here would be 0 divided by negative 1, which would be 0. So you can see the tan of 180 should be 0. It works. The tan of 270, what did we say? Error. That's why. Okay? Yeah, so the tan here is 0 and the tan here will be undefined because here it will be 0 divided by and here will be divide by 0, which is not good. Okay, last question. Tan of 225. So here's my location. And when I look at my coordinates, negative root 2 over 2, that would be all the stuff I know. Okay, now when we work with tan, we have to do a y value divided by an x value. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Here's my question for you. What happens in math when you have something divided by something when they're the exact same thing? What's your answer going to be? What? Right? In math, if you take something and divide it by itself, it will equal 1. So there's your answer, sine of 225. That's why you get 1. Okay, what do you think? Where else will that work? What's the tan here? 1. What's the tan right here? What? Negative 1. You see why it's negative 1? Okay, it also matches your astica, right? Tan has to be positive, negative, positive, negative. So here it's going to also be negative 1 at that spot.